days. Tree decorated by Isaac. Here we're in the I wimped out. Too cold to carry equipment anywhere. So we thought we'd bring you the festiveness of our office.
I was going to say that we consciously made the decision. We wanted to show off the Christmas tree.
Yeah, that's what it was.
This is actually my ego that kept us here.
Well, I fed his ego by saying, do we really have to go outside? Walk someplace downtown? We're still chipping away at our refrigerator.
We still got plenty here at the office.
So our home base, you're having something from Misbehaving Needs. Is that
March to Buzz?
March to Buzz. So
it is good.
I'm having a Crispin cider.
Mm-hmm.
You can't help but say it that way. I don't know why, but
maybe you could, but you shouldn't.
Forever.
I don't know.
I first had this at what used to be whatever it was, Tommy B's prior to Blue Point.
Oh yeah.
And that's just that's the way it comes out of my mouth when I say it. It's a Crispin. So
nothing you can do about that, folks.
So we're here. It's Tips from the Bar. It's Tuesday. It's our regular get together, and I will tell you right now, I am going to work hard to be more upbeat than I feel right now. I'm exhausted. We've had a couple of busy days.
These days, and you know what I think it is? End of the year. We're going to get it done by the end of the year.
Right? So now everything is coming due.
And the end of the year, though, is like 2 weeks before the actual end of the year because people start taking vacations and they're hard to get a hold of. And so, like, getting things done by the end of the year means getting things done like now. So like this week and next week are crucial on that.
Next week is beginning to be the week of fray because by the end of the week, people are already checking out.
They're gone.
It's getting crazy. We were talking about you running over to Costco yesterday, and I said you are not going to make it out before next Thursday because traffic is just insane over there right now. I will say, though, I got over there last week. I stopped by at 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And for the first time in forever, it seemed really busy in the parking lot.
Yeah.
But when I got in line, I wasn't like behind the nut rows. If you know Costco, I'm looking at the wrong thing. If you know Costco, all the registers line up into the nuts, not the people, but the choices for
you reach the people
peanuts. The peanuts and the the various iterations of nuts that they have there. And I didn't have that. I went straight to the line. I was already unloading. Mm-hmm. It was almost like too fast. I wasn't ready to start unloading my cart before there. I didn't have to wait for people. So it was remarkable. I really wasn't prepared to go that quickly. So 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and it was I can't remember what day it was. It was a good day to go. If you have that flexibility in your schedule, which I had a client meeting over in Maryville, and before I came back, I stopped by there. Still can't tag you. Don't understand it.
Never
very frustrating.
I don't know.
And
jump on there
so
and like it.
You're gonna have to somehow like it or whatever you have to do.
Yeah, I can make this happen. But
Kurt and Jordan on assignment tonight.
On assignment.
There we go. Hey, I hear me.
I'll give a heart and a share.
Heart you.
There we go.
Kurt and Jordan on assignment.
Sure. There we go.
So always tag Valpo Life so they pick us up and pass it along. But, so I've been doing a ton of writing, which when I talk to people in the business that I'm in, people don't think there's a lot of writing involved. It's all boilerplate. Oh, you just pull off the shelf and plug in names right now. I don't. I don't pretend that I write every word from scratch.
Please don't.
But there's a lot that I've been writing as I'm, coming on the, starting year 2 and getting a better feel for what I want things to say differently than some standardized stuff that's out there. And I'm dealing with people who want some special stuff written.
Yeah.
And there's a really cool thing I was writing on for a client who has, this sort of once in a lifetime house. And how do you provide something that you can afford for potentially your kids who may not live in the area or may not be able to afford it? These were 2 successful parents. They've lived a great life, worked hard, and they're really enjoying it now.
Yeah.
It's a great place for the family to come during the holidays or during the summer or whatever it might be. And they had this dream of having it held for the kids to use or one of the kids moving back into it, but we're not sure if that will work out. So how do you come up with language that allows for flexibility, taking care of the property. There's high maintenance. I mean, there's high cost on keeping this thing up.
Sure.
So
once in a lifetime. Yeah,
exactly. So I just sent it off to them. We'll see what they think.
But initially, are you telling me that boilerplate actually matters? That you just can't copy and paste all that all the time?
Finish. That's in fact. So I was meeting with a colleague over in Elkhart yesterday, and actually I'm really excited, and hopefully we'll have some news about this in the first of the year. But had a great meeting with some people over there, and really trying to, how we are always talking about our goal is to educate people. When we meet with clients, we're not running the clock right from the drop of the hat. As I tell people, I don't know what to charge you because I don't know what you need.
Right.
You don't even necessarily understand your legal issue until we have time to sort of draw it out.
I always say, you will know when you're being charged.
Exactly. That's
you
right.
will know.
You will know. That's
us,
precisely right.
We will tell you you are being charged for this. So
right.
If I don't,
and you'll know what the charge is going to be.
If I don't open our conversation with I'm billing you for this,
right?
Then I'm not billing you for that.
And that's the 2 a.m. call on Saturday.
And that's the 2 a.m. call.
Like it's okay,
I'm going to pick it up. I'm billing you for this.
Right.
It's 2 a.m.
But I think the meeting that somebody I'm working with over there set up was just really exciting, and it's someone else who has a similar vision in another industry. But it's going to, if it works out, it's going to be this awesome pairing of that industry and our industry and our both sides desire to help just give people information, help train them up, educate them up on a whole variety of topics. And we have an opportunity with the law firm to represent the law in those education modules. And it's an amazing model. Where this organization's going into businesses, Elkhart County. Talk about an ebb and flow.
I know Elkhart County. Yeah,
home of RVs. And the upside of that is when it's like now, they literally have zero. They have negative unemployment.
Yeah,
they are bringing people. They are importing people into the county to work. Literally, busing people from other counties into Elkhart County. Turnover, as I was talking to the person yesterday, the turnover rate is 100% for employers. That's a nightmare. And the challenge is, when you're trying to produce inventory and you need trained people, you start offering $1, $2, $10, $5, whatever it is to draw somebody else's employees into your place. But that's expensive because now I have to hire somebody else and train them up, and how long are they going to be around before?
Oh yeah.
Your productivity goes down while you're in that training mode or understaffed mode.
And the culture of your company actually takes a big hit too.
Yeah, it's hard to get.
It's hard to maintain a
team mentality.
Exactly.
Everybody pulling together. Everybody, rooting for the mission, whatever it might be. And so, what do? You have to do something to enhance the employment experience beyond just a salary.
Yeah.
And so the timing of this is great. And what they're doing are these little education modules. To go in and talk to employees during their lunchtime and provide information. And the conversation that brought me in is, can you come in and talk about what people need to know about estate planning, or how do they deal with a spouse or a parent who needs long-term care? What do I need to know about taking care of my kids? What do I need to know about protecting assets? So, I mean, it's exactly what I love to do. Yeah. And this person's already developing the module and the mechanism to deliver. So that's super exciting. And we'll see how it goes. Hopefully after the first of the year, we'll get that ball rolling and get that doing it. My energy level picked up. But in the short term, there's a ton of writing.
Crispin.
Up
your energy.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, so that's so as we're talking about staring at the computer a lot. Just your writing, it just starts to, take you down. But there was some, it's also exciting to be able to write from scratch.
Oh, I love drafting. I do. Now, I think that there was something that you hit on earlier that I think is really important to understand about not drafting everything from scratch.
Right.
And in fact, you should not. If there's an attorney who's drafting everything from scratch, they're doing it wrong. And that's not okay, because the law is built on case precedent.
Right.
We have built the entire legal industry and it's one of the reasons we're actually slow to change. is because that courts have already heard contracts that have similar language. And if the court has already held that this language is enforceable or not enforceable,
right,
that means that if it's enforceable, that's the type of language you should be using in your contract. Hence, copy and paste is going to be your good friend. But then the lawyer skills comes in and says, but that means something. It might need to be changed slightly,
right,
or it might contradict other provisions that are in there, or you know what? Not having it in there would be malpractice.
right.
Alternatively, putting in unenforceable language that the court has already said this doesn't make any sense. Using old templates
Right.
will often have language that's outdated, and it's not okay.
Yeah.
Now that right there, so understanding that that's not just building everything from scratch is an important lawyer tool, but also understanding the nuances and what that means for the contract or trust or whatever we're drafting. That's huge. And there is a giant development right now in terms of the modern contract language, the development.
Right.
No one ever does this, but if you ever go take a look at the Google's terms and conditions, they're completely understandable. Like, you will understand what they're saying from a layman's terms perspective.
Right.
Now, a lawyer will read that and say, I know what that actually is saying because we can reference case precedent. But the layman's terms, a lot of lawyers and a lot of law has been slow to change into modern terminology of understanding what a contract says because of that case precedent. So, I mean, it's a twofold. It's a double-edged sword. One, we know that courts will enforce it, so we like to use that language. But on the other side, that means we still have thereofs, herebys, wherefores.
No, not in my stuff.
No, I take out a lot of. I mean, I take out my contracts won't really say shall.
I do use shall.
You use shall.
Because there's a legal.
The shall will.
Yeah, shall does make a very. If I want to be unequivocal about something that someone needs to do,
right,
I will use shall. Will actually means the same thing.
It does, of course,
but it feels a little softer. Right. So if I want to make sure, then I will use shall. But I think I did use therefore recently.
No,
but not a whereas.
I actually like therefore. That one I've
whereas is a bit.
Whereas is a little much.
So I will say again, if you look at deeds, and again that goes back to what you were saying, there's an accepted format, and whereas is a word that I'm not sure if I can shake it or not. Yeah. So it's still in my deeds when I do deeds. But go to what you're talking about. There's that court precedent side.
Yeah.
But the other part of it is you shouldn't be paying an attorney to write every document from scratch.
Yeah.
Because of some of that accepted language and because some of it is so standardized.
Right.
The attorney, as I tell people, I do have boilerplates, but I have lots of plates.
Lots, yes.
And the key is, what plates are you bringing to the table?
Right.
If I can build this all the way out, for one person's particular planning need.
Yes.
So one person may need very specific structured language to manage this house. I may never use that language again.
Yeah.
But I may use parts of it because it fits with the mold of what I'm actually trying to do to have a specific distribution for another property. I have in that same trust a provision that's going to hold assets for children under 25, and if they're over 25 or they turn 25, distribute it out over a 10-year period of time or 15-year period of time. That language doesn't work for everybody. It's not necessary for everybody, but it was. I worked through it. I spent time writing it. I shouldn't charge someone else to write it again.
Yes.
But that also doesn't mean that there's not value in the effort that I put into it prior.
Right.
So that's the nice thing about being able to have flat pricing is that I know based on what I'm talking to someone about their estate plan or whatever, elder law planning, I know in my mind what my portfolio looks like, what pieces and parts I have to pull together, and what that package collectively should look like, both at finished product and what a good price for it is.
That definitely makes sense.
Yeah.
Some of the strangest boilerplate that I've come across, right, where you don't get this and everything. Because if I'm writing an independent contractor agreement for a business that just really wants a one-page independent contractor agreement, here's some things that I'm not going to put in there that I've come across.
Exactly.
One of them, headings not included, right? So I love this one, right, where you write an entire contract. There's a dozen or 100 headings, And there's a specific clause in there that says, by the way, all of the headings in the entire thing are not actually part of the contract. You can't actually consider them anything that you do.
Right.
Like, it's just the strangest thing that I get why they would put it in a 100-page contract, but you're not going to put it in a one-page independent contractor. I saw a clause on the including without limitation or the including but not limited to. Right? If you ever see that, that's a classic phrase. Including but not limited to.
Right.
This, and this. Well, what the contract did, it had a whole bunch of includings in there, but then it had a specific clause that said that anytime including was referenced, it was including but not limited to. And they chunked it down to it was, again, some of the strangest things that those are boilerplate. Those are technically boilerplate sections, but like you said, I'm not going to lay that plate on every table because it doesn't make any sense. But I love contract drafting, so I love looking at all the new types of plates that are out there and collecting new plates. I'm a plate collector.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I think that goes again to experience but not being so drawn down into, I wrote that will, I wrote that power of attorney last year, 5 years ago. It's still good. Things have changed. And in fact, the client I was meeting with earlier today, a document that would seem to be pretty straightforward and very boilerplate-y.
Official word.
I've changed several times this year because the laws have changed. The action of people who I have to put this in front of are changing.
Mm-hmm.
Actions are changing. And I just looking at the wording, trying to make it simpler. So when that document gets put in front of somebody, it says what I want it to say, and they interpret it that way. They don't push back on the client to not be able to do what the client needs to do. Mm-hmm. Now, I will say all that paid off because I got like the crazy ultimate compliment that I would have never expected.
Oh, yeah.
Client came back in and they had taken a power of attorney to CarMax or something. Is it the place over in Maryville? Is that CarMax? They were selling a car out of the estate.
Yep.
Or out of as they were doing some planning for an adult who's going into long-term care.
Place deals with this a lot.
They see these things all the time. And they said it was the most beautiful power of attorney they'd ever seen. And I wanted to shed a little tear, but it was like, that's weird.
No, I want to frame it. I want to frame it and send it to them. Or maybe you walked in sometime and you'd already seen
exactly.
it framed. They framed it. Like, wow.
That's my power of attorney on the wall. I can't even tag our law firm.
There it is. Autograph it.
Right. Hey,
send in the autograph.
Him. Yep. Not the goal when I write those things, but it is one of those like strange, putting the paper on the refrigerator sort of moments. So that was pretty cool. But again, I think that goes to that hopefully said something to the client.
Yeah.
Because we can talk all day about these are good or whatever it might be, because we get plenty of pushback on documents in other places. So it was good to see that happen. One of the things I wanted to talk about tonight before it's like skipping away time wise.
Yeah. Just like this entire past 2 days.
I know.
It's only been 2 days.
It's only Tuesday. It really does feel like Thursday.
Either way, yeah.
I'm dealing with a person who's called in and asking for some help on something, and I think this happens a lot with people. It goes to, when I talk to folks, we talk about it all the time, lowering hurdles. Sometimes people aren't sure if they actually have a legal issue.
Sure.
And so then they won't pursue it. And they may actually have a legitimate legal issue, but they think, but maybe I'm just being whiny, or maybe I really don't know if I can do anything with this. Right. Well, this one goes to the other side of that, which is, well, I have a legal issue, but can I do anything about it? Mm-hmm. So it goes to harm and damages.
Yep.
So just because someone's a bad actor, if they're not causing you a harm that you can, I don't want to say monetize, but it has to be fixable through the courts or through some sort of negotiated process.
The court has to be able to do something about it.
Right. I can't just come to the court and say they're hurting my feelings.
Yeah.
Unless I can monetize the hurt feelings, and that's going to be a hard
Oftentimes you have to connect that to a physical injury anyway.
Right. So, if what the person did caused you to have a bad reputation, you couldn't get a job.
Sure.
If you
defamation.
Lost a job, if you lost a relationship that had something you could put a number on, Those are the things. Yeah. So those are things that you can bring forward, but sort of just be feeling bad.
Yeah, I think the best one for that represents that intentional infliction of emotional harm. Right. That right there, to say that is truly my feelings were hurt.
Right.
And the courts have said, unless that's tied to either physical damage or desecration of a loved one's body, actually is another one oddly, where there doesn't have to be any physical harm, but somebody just kind of mishandled during the funeral or the autopsy or something. But yeah, that's one of those that you're going into court and you're saying my feelings were hurt.
Right.
As in, I went through pain and suffering and suffered severe emotional damage. The infliction of that emotional damage, but they usually tie it to physical harm in some manner. So exactly what you're saying. If it's just emotional harm, a lot of times that's not good enough to go into a court and saying, help me. And they're going to be like, maybe you need to go to therapy, but there's nothing we can do for you here.
Right. And so trying to put a way of reestablishing your reputation, for example.
That is a good one. From a defamation.
Right. So if there is a defamation, what's unfortunate is that in reality, defamation is a pretty cut and dry set of rules.
Yeah.
I mean, Indiana has pretty, if it's this, then yes. If it's this, then yes. Pro se.
The pro se, yeah. Definition per se. Defamation.
Pro se. Pro se would be
defamation per se.
Per se.
It's
pro se would be doing your stuff on your own.
Yeah.
Without an attorney. Which good luck. Yeah, per se.
Yeah.
Per se. Starting italicized words get me all the time.
Yeah, that's an italicized defamation per se.
Exactly. But now the thing and I think why this becomes a bigger issue in today's world is that people can blast things out online and you can damage someone's reputation. And now potentially an employer sees that. Potentially you don't get, in our world, a client because someone makes makes a comment. We've talked about this internally. What do we do if we get a bad review? Well, if it's someone had a bad experience and we did our best and they just said it didn't work out for them, that's life. Look, I've gone to restaurants and sometimes it's not A1 quality, and I can either choose to review or not go back or whatever it might be. But if someone steps over the line of saying things that are not true, and it does start to actually affect the capacity, or it affects somebody deciding to work with that person or not, or go to that restaurant or not.
Defamation, one of the key parts of that is that it's not true. Somebody said something about you that was not true, and then it harmed you.
Yeah. So I was reading a defamation case, one of the sort of benchmark cases in Indiana, where a newspaper wrote an article about a health inspector report. Restaurants closed down because of a health inspector report.
Yeah. And
newspapers will do this. There was a famous guy in Houston all the time. Every Friday night, he would go through the restaurant health inspection things, and his big sort of emphasis was slime in the ice machine. And there was slime in the ice machine. This is the guy that the best little whorehouse in Texas. Do you ever hear of that musical and movie? This is the guy that uncovered that place. Marvin Zindler, white-haired guy, wear a big suit, big white suit. Marvin Zindler, Eyewitness News. But his Friday night thing was he'd go through and he'd talk about, signs of rodents in the storage place, but his big sort of slime in the ice machine. I didn't even know what that meant, but man, it sounded awful.
Oh, it's not slime in that.
And so now if all he's doing is reading the report and he's not saying something that's wrong, there's really nothing you can do about that. That's not defamation. That's factual statement.
Yeah.
So the thing I was reading about over in Fort Wayne, the Gazette writes an article about a restaurant that had signs of rodent dropping. No slime. This was rodent droppings. But the headline was rats in the restaurant.
Oh.
That's a big difference between rodent droppings found in a storage room.
Yep.
Because rats, aren't the only rodents in the world. I'm sorry, rodents aren't the only rats.
No, you had it right for the rats.
Did I get
Wait,
it right?
no.
We'll go
rats
back.
are not the only rodents.
We'll clean it up in post.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that was a giant lawsuit, and and now you got in front of a jury, and the jury awarded some crazy amount of money, which I think they spooled down. I didn't get to the punchline of the case yet, but but they did say, but there has to be some intent to defame,
right?
And I think their implication was by not being more clear in your headline writing.
Right. And the intent is mostly that you made it public. You purposely put it out there.
Right.
It's not that it accidentally got out there. It wasn't that somebody was like writing in headlines on a sketch pad of ideas that they had, and the napkin got blown out the window when they went to lunch.
What was it I wrote?
Wait, where'd that happen to my napkin?
Right.
I had my headings written on. No, that was not intentionally disclosed. The intention is that you either knew it wasn't true, or you should have known that that was not completely true.
Right.
Right. Like you
rounded up.
You rounded up. Don't round up.
Right. Yeah.
Or you didn't dig enough. Like clearly, like you just looked at one part of it and you didn't look at anything else. Like, if you flipped it over, it would have said, but it turned out to be raisins.
Right. Yeah.
Right? Like, I don't know. Like, if you didn't do everything that you should have done, that's intentional, because you intentionally put it out there without doing everything that you should have done, or maybe you knew that it was false.
Right.
And the ones that are per se, so you can get defamation in a lot of ways, but if it's per se, that means it fell within one of these 4 categories. That means, like, you know what, we're just going to assume that you were injured because somebody said you had a criminal record.
Yeah.
Or somebody said you were sexually deviant.
Right.
Right. Or somebody said that you were bad at your job or had a particular disease.
Yeah.
Right. Like, these are the things that the statutes say, you know what, you don't even need to prove damages. If you say something about someone that's not true at all.
Not true.
Not true.
It has to be not true.
Right? That right there is going to play into clearly you were harmed by this. You don't need to go out and prove damages. We're going to give you called statutory damages. Statute's just going to lay it out. You owe money. Yep.
Yeah. So that's something to know, because again, we see people doing this. Well, heck, right now, the sexual accusations are all over the place right now. So I guess if you're going to do that in Indiana, be wary of the fact that, I guess that's statutory regardless of Indiana. I mean, I
think a lot of states have taken on that. It's a state matter, but there's pretty much
make sure you know what you're saying is true.
Just when you go to jump on Facebook or Google or anything like that, or your blog, you're going to publish something that reflects you. And if what you are talking about somebody else is not true, that will be held against you.
Right.
Because it's an extension of yourself, your blog or your post.
And the problem with the media like that is that that's written and it exists. Because if I were to say, well, I heard you told somebody else this, and you have no proof that that's actually what occurred, that's going to be even if it is one of those 4 triggers, you're going to have to go out and prove it. Well, now it's not just in the ether, it's in digital history. So somebody can come back and pull that up and say, well, right here it was on this date.
Right.
You put it out to the world. And the problem is you don't even have to put it out to the world, even if I just send it to a couple of friends.
Oh, sure. Publication.
That's
just telling other people. Now, we should put on here that we're not talking about parody here. No. If everybody clearly knows, that's why Saturday Night Live is not sued all the time, right?
No, they should be, because I just don't find them funny.
That's a different kind of lawsuit.
Can I bring a lawsuit for not being funny? Holding yourself out as
funny,
but
not then actually meeting it.
Yeah.
They have had every now and then they'll pop up with something that I think is pretty funny, but they're not held to a defamation standard because everybody knows that it's a joke.
Yeah, that parody thing is a weird bird.
Parody thing is a weird thing
because and it goes to copyright too. You can parody something and completely destroy somebody's copyright.
Yep.
On what would look like on paper. Like you've taken the entire song, the lyric pattern, the music, and all you did was sort of parody the song.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
And I'd say Weird Al, but actually I believe he actually pays.
Does he?
Yeah, I think he's made enough where he's reached a point where he actually gives back, which is fantastic. Don't listen to a whole lot of his stuff, but
used to.
Yeah.
Back in the Dr. Demento days. I don't know if you know Dr. Demento. I may be aging myself there.
There's a lot of parodies out there now. Feel free to jump on YouTube and type parody.
There was an old radio show called Dr. Demento.
Okay.
It was all like parodies and made up songs and stuff. They were all comedy sort of things. But The Dr. Demento show.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, flashback. I don't know how.
There you go.
I don't know when he stopped. Actually, at one point in the old radio days, I bought his album set.
Okay.
That I used to have in the garage, and it got wrecked. So,
if you know something about Dr. Demento, feel free to post it, or legal questions as well.
If you know Dr. Demento,
if you know him, or
send your favorite Dr. Demento song. What was your favorite song?
Yeah.
The one that always resonates. Can't say it was my favorite, but it was called Fish Heads. It's just this annoying monosyllabic, not monosyllabic, monotone delivery of this song. Fish heads, eat them up, yum. I mean, we're
gonna hear this. We're gonna hear this a lot in the office now. I'm gonna guess.
Yeah, fish heads.
Just
we'll have to YouTube it.
We will have to. But you can also ask legal questions.
Yeah, if you have legal questions, if you have your own. If you have a favorite Dr. Demento song, share it.
Mm-hmm.
If you can find it on YouTube, link it so other people can enjoy it as well. But if you have legal stuff too.
Yeah, legal stuff
and
too.
If you don't know, if you are not sure if there is a legitimate legal issue, that's what we want to help you understand.
Yep.
And when we talk about closing the gap, knocking down legal hurdles, that's our goal.
And you will know when we start billing you too.
Yeah, we'll let you know. We have a little bell here.
We did.
No, we don't.
I should get one of those bells.
Letters and again, I think the two of us especially, but Jordan a lot too.
Yeah.
There's a package. I mean, if you need X, here's what X costs.
Right. Flat fee things as much as possible.
Yeah.
Package deals. I mean, that just makes it so the client understands. This is a big thing that when we went into this, saying the burden shouldn't be on the client to just try to figure out what this price is going to be.
Right.
No, shift that over to the attorney as much as possible. There's some stuff no one can guess, right? Even in our professional opinion, we have to do our best to just try to go with it, but things come up.
Well, and sometimes you have to pay for the due diligence to figure out.
Yeah.
So in theory, you may have a case. We're going to have to spend some time and money to figure out if we can vet the case to bring it forward.
Yeah.
But that's going to be cheaper than saying, hey, it's going to be $10,000, take this to court.
Yep. Instead of running into court with it when you're not prepared or you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Or alternatively saying, no, you don't have anything, or I don't want to deal with this, and then pass it on it when you might have something. And that's both are an injustice.
Right.
And so, yeah, but regardless, it's the way of shifting the burden off of the client and onto us.
So my mom's song that she wanted to pass on.
Yeah.
On top of spaghetti. Was there on top of Old Smoky, I think was the original song, and so the parody was on top of spaghetti, where the meatball rolled out.
Yeah.
Out the door and under a bush.
Yeah.
At some point.
Oh my!
Spoiler
meatball.
alert. In case you don't know the song.
I do know that song.
The meatball turns to mush.
Yeah. Oh, I know. That was the saddest part of that song.
To that end, just real quick, and as we wrap up, because we're after 7, I think maybe we got started a little bit late, but heck, we're rolling.
Yeah.
You've heard me talk about it. Not everybody watches every video, but I know sometimes it feels a little tiresome bringing this up. But we had
Let's do it.
A professional advisor here in town stop by the office today, and we were talking about probate again.
Yep.
And he has a client, and it's in the state. And the person came in and said, should it really cost this much to do this probate? And, he's familiar, because of his position, he's familiar with the probate rules that are out there for the schedule of fees. But he said, it didn't sound right. It just didn't feel right. And so we were talking about what the schedule is and the application of the schedule. And, I gave him, what my fees are for probate. I mean, I've got a flat starting rate for most probates. And, or I do have a flat rate, and depending on the complexity, it may spool up.
Yeah.
But for a
unlike most, though,
right.
There's a lot of attorneys that do percentage based.
Yeah, that's exactly what happens. So you add up the assets in probate, and those not in probate, and they can tack a fee on a percentage basis of what that adds up to.
Yeah.
Again, like we look at it, like we said earlier, we look at what we're doing, what it costs to manage that process, and then we set our prices accordingly. So that was, whether that turns out to be a client or not, I don't know. I just know I was glad I was able to reassure an advisor who bumps into this on an every now and then basis that there are options, and there are different folks that set their bars differently. So anyway, Thanks for joining us. Tips from the bar.
Yeah.
We're here on Tuesdays. Next week we'll be here. It's not yet.
That's right. No.
Right? So we'll be a few days within the 12 days of Christmas. Well, we're in the 12 days of Christmas. Oh, you have the countdown.
Yeah, we're tomorrow is the 13th day.
So this is 12 days of Christmas Eve.
Tomorrow will be.
No,
so
I'm saying 12 days of Christmas is. Oh, you already
today's
said
the
13.
14th. Yeah, today's the 14th.
I saw 13
days
when I walked
Christmas.
by the door.
I Lindsay changed it on the way out.
Oh,
but, yeah.
Okay.
So if you need to still order the partridge and the pear tree, now is the time to get that ordered. So maybe it can get here by.
Yeah, and if you're gonna have to go to Costco,
you need to go to Costco.
You're gonna have to buy them all at once.
Yeah, well, you really should.
Yeah,
but that's
you're gonna be halfway through
about
the
2 o'clock.
You know,
go about 2 o'clock.
There's my non-bar tip.
Yeah, that's the tip from the bar though.
If you can schedule your long lunch break, head over there during that period of time. If you have questions, you can always post them in our what'd you say? Like the tree. I'm not sure what like the tree. I must have said something that she was responding to. Like the tree. So you can always post questions in our comment box here. If you're watching this later, we do get notification of that. We try to respond. And also you can visit our website, CCSK Law. That's C as in cat, C as in cat. What's the S now?
Snipe. S as in snipe, K as in kangaroo, law, LAW.com.
.com. Yeah, for a while S was snake.
Yeah,
I took that personally.
Yeah, I was just going with animals, right? Yeah. I was like cat, snake, kangaroo, but that was not reflective upon.
So if you go with like the Morse code things or whatever that is, it would be.
Oh, are you talking about
CC? I don't know what's C. Alpha, beta, no, alpha, bravo. What's C in those little things?
14. No,
that would be Q, wouldn't it?
Yeah, maybe. I'm not good at that.
But S was Sierra.
S was Sierra, yeah.
Sierra, Tango. I don't remember some of those. In X-ray is always X-ray though, because there's no other word in the world.
No, xylophone.
That'd be too long.
That would be too long.
What is C? Why can't I think of C?
I can't think of C.
D is Delta.
If you know C,
Christmas.
Let us know.
Oh, Christmas tree. Oh, she likes the Christmas tree.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you for your clarification, because
we're a big fan of it.
Yep. So anyway, CCSK Law. .com. You can find some information there. You can post your questions on the comment box there. You can put comments in the video here. If you have a particular question that you want us to address at a future show, let us know. Maybe we have to be, what's gifting? What is an actual gift, and what's the
regifting? What is gifting? What a good Christmas topic.
What are regifting rules?
Tune in next week for gifting and what the C rules. Stands for.
Right, we'll figure out what C is on that. I don't even know what you call that scale. What is that thing called? It's not the Morse code.
It's not Morse code. That's .dash. Yeah.
It's something, obviously. Thanks again for joining us. Tips from the Bar, Tuesday night, 6:30 till we wrap up.
Yep.
And right here on Facebook, CCSKLaw.com. Again, appreciate everybody listening. If we don't talk to you next week, have a Merry Christmas. If you're going into the Hanukkah season, have a Happy Hanukkah.
That's right.
That starts soon.
Yeah, it's coming up.
Has it already started?
Well, we'll see.
Folks that
8 days of it.
Hanukkah.
Yeah. If you know that.
I can't remember. And that's a slightly moving target, I think. So.
Oh, that is.
We'll have answers for next week.
So many questions. So what is the
We're asking our own questions. I should put them in the box.
Hanukkah started yet? Right.
Yeah, when's Hanukkah start? Sundown someday. It has to be sundown.
Sundown someday.
Sundown someday.
That's the calendar we have.
Right.
It says someday. Sundown someday.
Yeah. So anyway, have a great week.
All right. Have a great week. Thank you for joining us.